All right, mate. I get you. I also find the terminology of the sacred masculine incredibly cringe. It's corny. It brings up so much association with some guy with long greasy hair in white linens, probably with a beard, preaching about some half-cut tantric principles, probably in Bali or Tulum. All right, no judgment out there. I know plenty of people who fit that description, and I love them dearly. Great men. But I, for one, I pick up on hyped trends, fads, and half-baked spiritual teachings quite easily. And again, it's not me judging, but something feels off. And particularly with this notion of the sacred masculine, again, it's corny. And in this video, I want to speak on it and give a reframe as to actually why it's incredibly important to understand and to embody. And I hope to present this in a way which makes sense, doesn't have to be associated with any kind of scene or dress code, and just talk about real principles. And there's three things I want to address here. And the first is around relationships, particularly polarity. You've probably heard this spoken about a lot before, masculine and the feminine, and how, when it comes to human interactions, human relationships, human polarity, the masculine is presented as presence of one-pointed consciousness, focused attention, stillness. And the feminine, on the other hand, is all that is energy, everything which moves, everything which is in constant change. There's very much polarity 101. So masculine, consciousness, stillness, you might even say like the emptiness. And feminine is everything which we experience. Now we want to emphasize that again. Everything in experience is energy, is Shakti, to use tantric terminology. And that stuff, when you observe it, is never constant. It's always in flux. But what is crucial here is that includes everything which is constantly changing, including your emotions, your physical body, your thoughts. All of that pertains to the feminine realm because it's in flux. It is that which is perceived. Now, that which perceives is your awareness. All right? This witnessing consciousness. Now, the whole of your experience of reality, is essentially made up of two parts: the object of your experience and the subject of experiencing. So the I and the it. The I would be the masculine, the it would be the feminine. Now, in certain tantric traditions, there is a third element to experiencing reality, which is the means of experiencing, but I will leave that to other content. But coming back to it, sacred masculine is this pure awareness. Now, why is this important when it comes to relationships? Well, so much of healthy relationship and healthy polarity rests on a man's, or whoever is embodying the masculine pole, but I will continue to use man just for simplicity's sake, and that's my experience as a heterosexual man. When a man is able to be present to his woman's emotions without reacting, being there to simply observe, be present, all right, the healthier the relationship comes. All right, as soon as a man reacts with his emotionality. You have two people going into their feminine, and that just amplifies the emotion and doesn't lead to a place of trust and stability. Now, of course, with so much of my content, I would just make a caveat here. This is to never say endure abuse or have weak boundaries and let yourself be walked over, etc. No. As a human being with self-respect, you need to learn to set boundaries when things are too much. But again, this sacred masculine is actually your capacity to embody that one-pointed consciousness and be with all that is arising in your experience, including your partner's emotional storm or her tests. Because what is happening there when the feminine is pushing up, she's wanting to see how grounded, how secure you are, and that requires you to rest in this witnessing consciousness and not be pushed from that. Now, from that place, you can interact with it. You can respond from a place of love, which is always going to amplify that polarity and trust, and not go into these compensatory reactive patterns, whether it's closing off, pulling away, getting loud, getting defensive, you name it. The more you can just rest in witnessing consciousness, be with what is, the more you are embodying sacred masculine, and the more trust, more polarity you're going to have in that relationship. So I've learned this so much from my own mistakes, where I respond to my woman's emotions with my own emotions. And in that moment, I'm not embodying the masculine pole. All right? And just to highlight, like, the sacredness of it is in recognizing the duality of nature, all right? How there is this witnessing consciousness, and you have a choice. You actually have an art to be in that and operate from that. You know, so long as you can always stay somewhat rested in this recognition of, okay, I am Shiva, I am pure awareness. Okay, I am connected with all. I actually don't need to worry about everything. Everything is okay. The more you are connected to that, the deeper you are connected to that, the more harmony you're going to generate through not being so easily pushed off your center. So the second element of the sacred masculine I want to highlight is this notion of dharma. Dharma is a word used in Hindu traditions, which kind of means duty, all right? At least in the kind of tantric traditions, Hindu traditions. And this pertains to a man's purpose, all right, and your dedication to purpose. Because when one really feels into the service which one is here to give, to do, that becomes the highest priority in a man's life. And when you're fully connected with that, you don't allow yourself to be so easily knocked off center. Now again, this comes back to polarity principles, in that, for sure, a man, or the one embodying the masculine pole, will feel the urge to prioritize purpose. And when he is prioritizing purpose, and that is clear, he comes into this masculine power, this strength. Feminine, on the other hand, the innate priority is different, is about loving and being loved. Again, this isn't to genderize it, and it's not to say neither men or women aren't capable of the other or shouldn't do the other. No, it's just an inherent principle. And again, we've all got masculine and feminine in us. But to embody sacred masculine requires a recognition that there is something from life which wants to come through you. It's not about what I want to do so I can be great, and be successful, it's coming from the ego. But rather, the question should be, what does life want to enact through me? What wants to come through me? And when you position it like that, when you reframe the question like that, you put yourself in a position of being of service, which is Dharma, all right? Which is another very important aspect of sacred masculine. So once you find your Dharma, once you commit to that, you're going to embody more of that masculine strength, that masculine quality. And if you're in a relationship, that's going to be healthy for that polarity in that relationship. And the last aspect of the sacred masculine I want to talk about is truth. All right. Again, I'm making kind of polarized distinction between masculine and feminine here. But whereas the feminine is energy and wants to prioritize love, that is the thing which, lights up the feminine. The masculine, on the other hand, has an inclination towards truth and freedom. All right, truth beyond everything is actually the pursuit of the masculine. All right, what is really true? And this can be the truth with a capital T, and it can also be the relative truth. But to seek out truth and act on truth, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it burns bridges, the sacred masculine does not shy away from truth, does not hold back from speaking out truth and living in alignment with what is true. So what I see coaching men over the last several years is that so often men are afraid of the truth and to be in alignment with what is true because they want to perform. They want to get validation. They seek approval from the outside world. Obviously, coming from a place of lack of self-worth. They are afraid of rejection, of not getting the love that they seek. But when they're stuck in that pattern, they forego truth. They give up on truth. And when you're not living in alignment with truth, whether you're masculine or feminine body, man or woman, your life's going to run into a lot of hurdles, a lot of pitfalls, and you're going to face unnecessary struggle. So when you are embodying sacred masculine, you don't shy away from truth, and you understand that it is better to line yourself with truth, prioritize truth, even when it doesn't feel good, because you know that feelings are the domain of the feminine. They come and go, they change like the weather. All right. And you can accept, hey, this doesn't feel good now, but it will change. It will be changed. At least I am not denying something or lying myself, or worse, lying to others. So to wrap this up, 3 aspects of the sacred masculine is this recognition of one-pointed awareness, stillness and consciousness. Your Dharma, you might want to call that a purpose, which you commit to yourself to beyond anything. And third is having truth, alignment with truth as one of your highest priorities. So with these things, you don't have to wear white linen or go on meditation retreats throughout the year to quote unquote embody the sacred masculine. Hell, you don't even have to call it the sacred masculine. But in this video, what I'm trying to say is there's some principles here which have a spiritual undercurrent, particularly when we look at the world through the dual lens of masculine and feminine, and particularly when we are exploring consciousness, awareness, and growing outside of our ego and seeing that we are connected with all, and that actually we have a purpose on this earth, and to really tune in to hear, okay, what does life want to flow through me, rather than operating from the ego where we push and we drive to things we think we want, but are actually inherently out of alignment with our core being, our soul, you might want to say. And yeah, once you align with these principles, you come into your power, all right? You move from your core rather than having to, again, fulfill other people's expectations or perform, which is something I've spoken about in videos last month about performative masculinity. So trade performative masculinity with sacred masculinity, as cringe as that might sound. Anyway, if you watched this far, thank you very much. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and if you're interested, subscribe to my newsletter. I'm sending out newsletters there with more personalized content and offers. All right, thank you very much.